Good afternoon and good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube channel and coffee stream, episode 436. It is Canadian Wednesday, and Functional is running a little bit late. He's pretty tired, apparently so am I. There is Functional. Let's see here. Yeah, this is the first stream back from my trip, and I also have a bit of a rant to start the stream off before we rant about other stuff. Good day, Functional. Are you roasting?
No, well, kind of, but not really. I just got a package delivery from Walmart who just decided that they weren't even going to call me, and I got a beep of an email on my phone saying, "Hey, we delivered your package." So I went downstairs. It was just like lying there in the middle of the lobby for anyone to take.
Awesome.
I fucking hate these people.
Fantastic.
And so while I was bending down to try to pick up the package, I have mobility issues.
Yep.
I sacked myself with my cane.
Oh, that's awesome. I've blind people have this really fun experience of getting our canes stuck in cracks in sidewalks, and then the handle going like
into your ribs,
yeah,
your gut,
like can opening your rib cage. It's great. So I may not be able to understand the pain of whacking yourself in the nuts with your cane. I do have similar pain experiences with a cane. So that's awful.
Yeah.
And speaking of awful, I am getting fucked by what it seems like my payment processor.
Oh no.
Because I'm trying to cash out. I've been trying to cash out my OnlyFans for a week and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was supposed to be the money to cover me for my vacation. Right? So it was it was in process for 5 days, and then I get an email saying, "Oh no, it was rejected." And I'm like, okay, why? I put in all the information correctly. So I called the bank this morning, and they're like, okay, well, we don't see why there would be any reason. Let's look into this. And then they're like, okay, well, there's no record of any incoming transfer at all. And the, processing bank, which is, some other bank somewhere in BC.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, she's like, they may not accept incoming transfers from there because of the company it is. And I'm like, wait. First of all, it's a legal, like, it's not like it's an illegal company. Like, it's not like it's a dark web fucking thing. It's a well-known legitimate thing. And I'm like, and second of all, I'm like, there is now, because you guys have, well, it's not you, because they have denied this payment incoming. My account is now overdrawn. And if they had allowed the payment to come through, my account would now not be overdrawn. So how do you guys plan to fix this problem? And so now apparently they're, it's not my bank's fault. It's the intermediary bank.
Right.
And so now my bank is trying to figure out how they can help me get my account out of the negative, because if it wouldn't be in the negative had the payment cleared. And for everybody, there are people that are arguing, oh, well, payment processors have the right not to accept stuff from OnlyFans to prevent like child trafficking and whatever. Do you have freaking? We had to re-verify my account, and it was so hard that I couldn't do it by myself. So Pincalo had to help me, and it detected another person in like because you had to take a picture of it ID and then a picture of you.
Okay.
Right. And it had to be taken with the selfie camera. So freaking Pincalo had to like try to line it up with me, but without him in it. And it kept going like person detected. You can't we can't verify this account because there's another person. Like you can't do this with another person. In the
No
process.
shit, dumbass. I'm blind.
And-
Somebody needs to take the picture for me.
Yeah, and it took us almost half an hour to get my account verified. So, like,
Load of
for
bollocks.
people to say that, like, there's no verification of identity, that's bullshit. There very much is. Ugh. And, for banks to, what's it called? To deny money from a place like OnlyFans. And I'm not even in the category of OnlyFans creation that they were targeting, right? I'm in like the meta art, like modeling category, right?
Yeah.
But even still, if a bank is not going to allow wire transfers from a site like OnlyFans because of the pornography aspect, then you know what? You can't allow like actual paid professional porn stars and their videographers and all that to deposit their paychecks. You can't allow strippers to walk in with their cash to deposit it in their account. Like, the frickin' hypocrisy is ridiculous.
Yeah, and their job is just to move ones and zeros from one place to another. It's not to, do anything else. And I made this argument on Minions that they shouldn't have this power.
No.
This authority to just pick and choose. And the other thing is, if they're doing it for liability, that's bullshit. Because even though the whole thing with Pornhub is still in litigation, there's precedent already. The phone company is not responsible if I call you up on the phone and be like, okay, BP, we're going to knock over this bank and blah, 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 blah. And we plan this.
No.
The phone company's not liable.
No.
The people committing the crimes are liable.
Yeah.
And what it boils down to is, yes, they want to, the narrative is protect themselves from CP or what have you. That's a crime. They want to protect themselves from being liable in the commission of a crime, which they're not liable. So I don't get what's going on.
That would be like if a bank, received, if they were not, say there was no money laundering involved, and a drug dealer just happened to walk in and deposit a whole bunch of his earnings.
Yeah.
That would be like the FBI coming down and shutting down that bank because they happened to hold money.
Yeah, like the FBI is gonna walk into Chase Manhattan and shut down Chase Manhattan. It's
right.
not gonna happen.
No, like if Chase Manhattan were helping to launder the money, that would be a different story. But if it was just like direct proceeds that you cannot verify whether or not it's just money.
Right. Yeah.
Like, you don't have the right to not put the money in the account. Fuck, like...
We're already off to a great day. A great start to the day. Like, Jesus Christ.
And so, on top of all this, frickin', it's been a full week into the campaign now. And, oh my God. So my best friend and I, because that's where I was over the weekend.
Yeah.
The night before I left, she and I were just kind of chilling in her room, and she was reading to me, like, because she's interested in this stuff kind of as well. She was reading out loud all of the different platforms.
Oh boy.
And
Before we go ahead, I gotta, because you can't see it and chat can only see most of it. But my avatar is the Uniparty. So what they can't see on screen is the Green Party and the block.
mm-hmm.
But what is on screen is it says the Uniparty. It
Right.
says more lies with Aaron the Tool underneath, more corruption with the drama teacher underneath, and more debt with the terrorist sympathizer underneath. And what they can't see on screen is the Green Party's leader with more control and the block with more division, because yeah, now we can get into the platforms because it'll all make sense with BP. And that was brought to us by Mad Max.
Yeah.
Because he is awesome.
So, and hello, Keeverdam. Hello, Costin. Hello, Aluin. Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming.
What up, chat?
Strap in for the ride, everyone.
Yeah, Canada. Because it's, again, I mentioned on Minions that this is kind of all being overshadowed by the Afghan stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's not just American news, it's global news.
It is.
But this is important stuff.
So there were a few things that the conservative platform put out that made sense to me, like a 2-year moratorium on foreign investment in housing. So that Canadians have a chance to actually buy houses.
Yeah, so these development companies can't just be selling 80% of their condo developments to Chinese foreign investment.
Yeah.
Which, good, it's a start. We'll see if they actually follow through.
Then there was...
just remember, more lies.
Yeah. Then there was some weird stuff like what was it, a 15% rebate for dining in like Canadian, like small, like Canadian owned restaurants, but you would only get this rebate if you ate out on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday.
What?
Yeah. Well, actually, this is gonna be fun. Here, I'm gonna
crab legs at Mandarin? What the shit? Come on, man.
I'm gonna frickin'... So what she did was she Googled it. She Googled and she was reading it off. So I'm just... Because we had a good laugh about...
It's so idiotic.
And then there was the 75%... what was it? It was the 75% coverage of vacation, like tax rebate for vacations up to $1,000 a person within Canada. So like if you wanted to say take a train ride across Canada, you would be rebated up to 75% for up to $1,000 a person to get the tourism industry back in like some of this stuff is just doesn't make much sense. I'm gonna take the time to actually pull up this for each of them because I want to show the actual, like, the ridiculous amount of just wordplay and subterfuge that, like, and it's politicians, so that's not unusual, but it's just,
Dear jackasses,
yeah,
make the provinces open up. Boom, problem solved.
right.
Lift the fucking border restrictions. Not just the federal border, but again, make the provinces open their borders. Because there's checkpoints in between borders now. You have to show papers, please.
Right.
Makes no sense. How is that going to incentivize anyone to want to travel?
So the plan is a link here. I'm on the Conservative Party's website.
Mm-hmm.
And the plan is broken into 6 bullets. I'm gonna see if I share it, if I click on the links it'll stay going. Cause they're like linked points. It's like jobs, accountability, mental health. Like, and they're all, each party's platform is broken down like this. And you're gonna love when we get to the Liberals and the NDP. You're just gonna love it, because oh my god, like, and this is, you guys are gonna see when we get further into this, the absolute lack of choice. If you look at the 3 big parties,
Do what we
right?
say, Juden.
Not even including Green and PPC and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Just the 3 big ones. The absolute lack of options. Okay? So here we have jobs, accountability, mental health, country, economy, and environment. This is what it's broken down into. So let's see what they say about jobs. Secure jobs. Let's find, where's the headline here, or the heading. And Pincalo's like, you guys should have recorded yourselves going through this the other day. I'm like, I don't know. I probably should have. So, it says, secure jobs. Together we will secure Canada's future. So, let's see. Every Canadian deserves the security and dignity that comes with a secure, stable, and well-paid job. Yes. Like, all of these guys did a lot of stating the obvious. I have to say. It's very, like, very, very much stating the obvious.
With a lot of placating words.
In
like
all, yeah.
Like, well paid according to who? And no, you're not guaranteed a well paid job.
No, you're not. You're really not. And
I want to punch these people.
it's just, ugh. Anyway, so let's freaking, okay. Come on, voiceover, help me with, help me by being helpful, okay? There we go. Where are we here?
Looks like you're there.
Okay.
There you go.
So I already read the, oh my god. I suck at this. I had the line right there.
Well, it's a very not well constructed website.
It's not. It's, and the CNIB, while I am trying to get this all set up here, the CNIB, to its credit, has sent out emails to its registrants, saying, and they actually have a form letter that is, I actually signed up and participated in it, going to all of the MPs and candidates that will be running, that is pushing for, like, no matter what party they are, that is pushing for actual, like, help with, working with the provinces, territories, and municipalities to help, get qualified disabled employee, like, people into actual jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And also working with provinces and territories to ensure that any federal assistance that may be offered in from now on is not clawed back by provincial disability programs, because right now they can, like, the ODSP, for example, considers if you receive federal funding, even EI that you pay into, if you receive that, it's double dipping to them.
Yeah.
Well, which I don't see how it can be, because it's from two different fucking systems. Like, I've never understood that. So that, so I signed up for that, and sent that letter off to all the MPs and candidates and stuff, because it's important.
Yeah.
It's an important thing that needs to be done for all disabled Canadians, not just blind Canadians, but it's a start.
Try to get people to work, yeah, instead of just being depressed because they're not working, they don't have roles, they're just collecting disability. Try to find ways to bring them back into the workforce.
Yeah.
There's plenty that can be done. There's plenty capable people that can do many different things.
Oh, the other thing that the CNIB campaign is asking for is a federalized assistive devices program, which I would agree with.
Yeah, that's one. That was a big issue that I dealt with for a while. I had to go through a third-party private charity to get a walker.
Yeah,
and a cane.
Because the ADP program lists of accepted devices are stupidly specific.
Very, very limiting.
Yeah. So it says here, Canada's Conservatives will enact a comprehensive jobs plan to get Canadians back to work across the country. So there's like a little list here with checks. So it says, taking immediate action to help the hardest hit sectors. Helping those including women and young Canadians who have suffered the most. Really? Okay.
Men at record low unemployment, women most
the
affected.
Kowtowing to women from all three fucking of the big parties. It was disgusting in this. And
even listen to the language. Hardest hit sectors. Full stop. That
yeah.
should have been full stop. Including women and young Canadians. Well, aren't they just Canadians?
Yeah.
And why does their gender or their age matter? If it's a hard hit sector, it's a hard hit sector.
Exactly.
Help the frickin' sector.
So the next bullet point is rebuilding Main Street. Rebuilding Main Street by assisting small business and providing incentives to invest in rebuild and start new businesses. Okay, so they're trying to be colloquial when they say rebuild Main Street.
Yeah, I'm guessing they mean main streets of wherever your location is.
Okay.
In a place like Toronto or Ottawa, that really doesn't freaking matter.
Yeah.
Sure, maybe in a smaller city like Guelph or London, maybe that does make a difference. But again, like it just goes back to the provinces. Why are you letting them shut down these businesses.
Yeah.
All the while, the premier's business is making record profits,
Right?
at least here in Ontario. Oh boy.
And then the third one is creating opportunities in all sectors of the economy and all parts of the country.
I'm making a jerk off motion.
Shouldn't that be all? Shouldn't that? Ugh. So that's the jobs portion of the plan. I don't see any information on how they plan on doing that.
Thanks, Skep. I'll just turn that down a couple notches. Said
There
it was a
was
little loud.
there was a lot of what's it called? There was a lot of talking in all the programs.
Mm-hmm.
Or in all the platforms. Not a lot of what's it called? Action.
Actual plans.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna invest in business. How? In
So
what
this,
way are you going to take away the barriers that have been put up by parties like the Liberals?
yeah.
Or are you going to put up new barriers so that some businesses flourish and other businesses stagnate?
So they're talking about a lot of securing. It's secure the future is their motto. And this is secure accountability. Together we will secure Canada's future. So, here we go. Canada's Conservatives will put the country first by enacting the toughest accountability and transparency laws in Canada's history. Okay, how? So again, with the list and the check boxes, toughen the Conflict of Interest Act and impose higher penalties. Gee, I wonder what that would be in response to.
Oh, they're directly targeting the Liberals, yeah.
But do you notice? How the Conservatives, to their credit, do not seem to be like outright Trudeau bashing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Using a little bit of obfuscation and clever wording.
Keep that in mind.
Okay.
Audience and everybody, keep that in mind. Toughen the Lobbying Act to end abuse by liberal insiders. Okay, there's the shade thrown, but
oh, wait for it.
Still no like actual Trudeau like yeah. Increase transparency to end liberal government or liberal cover-ups.
Ding ding ding.
Because this is the, and I can understand why they're doing this, because the Liberals, well, like, look at what they did here and then look at the sponsorship scandal from Jean Chrétien. That was pretty bad.
Yeah, yeah.
So, when they do say stuff like, oh, the Liberals, the Liberals, the Liberals are pretty, pretty, and the Conservatives aren't, blameless here.
No,
at all.
like we just said, there's the premier of our province who's directly benefiting from lockdowns.
So mental health is their next bullet point. So of course now we have secure mental health, because I don't know how you do that.
Reopen the asylums?
How do you? Yeah, that might be good.
I mean, I say that jokingly, but I'm also serious.
Well, have you seen Aiden Paladin's video on the actual backlash or the actual negative effect that closing the mental institutions
Mm-hmm.
of America has
Mm-hmm.
had on the homeless crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And it's true, like like the mental asylums should have definitely been reformed, right? Like
Oh yeah, and
there was some
investigated claims of
awful treatment
abuse. Yeah.
of the patients, but to outright close them, I think was
You're
a
throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
big mistake.
Because like you were saying, like there's scientific data to show that they were a net benefit for society and the people who were who were well, let's not mince words, but were committed because instead of having somebody who cannot take care of themselves on the street,
Yeah,
they're in a facility, hopefully trying to get treatment while studying the conditions that these people have
exactly.
so we can learn more, and they get 3 squares, they get a place to rest their head, a roof over that
They're
head,
warm.
clothes, warm or cooled depending on the temperature, the time of year. There was a lot that was good about it. Sure, the abuses were horrible at times, but you can't throw the entire institution away because
No,
there were some people who took advantage of other.
exactly. And Pincalo's right. He said we seriously need the asylums open back up. The amount of mentally ill people I see in the homeless community is exorbitant. It is.
Yeah, and Skep nails it on the head as well by saying start by putting Trudeau in one.
Yep.
Well, maybe we should throw him in prison, but
So here's what we have. The
okay.
last year has made clear the mental health crisis we face. It's time to make it clear that mental health is health. That's and to treat it properly. That is true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We do need to update our thinking on how we deal with mental illness, because a lot of people still like feel like
Stigmatizing.
it's not the same as being physically ill. And
Yeah.
I would say that that is complete crap.
Yeah, and they're both very interconnected.
Yep.
And one of the big things, as you well know, is and what most chat might not know. Actually, Elwyn's covering that mentioned it. She just wants therapy to be covered because in our socialized system, a lot of mental health resources are not covered.
Yeah, I think I am covered for 8 sessions a year at a like community counseling
Yeah,
service.
yeah.
Like not any professional, like
In
specialized
8 sessions.
psychologist.
Eight
Yeah,
sessions.
eight
That's nothing.
sessions, eight
That's
50
over
minute
a year.
sessions.
That's nothing.
Yeah.
That's not going to do you any good.
And so no specialized like psychologists, or if I wanted a specific behavior, like a specific therapy treatment,
Yeah, somebody
I
who would be specializing in somebody with your disability, just like I would want somebody to be able to specialize with mine.
yeah, like that would not be covered under ODSP.
No, I know personally for me, and I'll share a little bit. All that is covered are CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy sessions, and that kind of stuff doesn't work for me. I'd like something more like actual counseling from, again, like we were just talking about, somebody who would probably be a little bit more specialized in dealing with people who once lived normal, quote unquote, normal lives,
Hmm.
who were then quickly uprooted in their life and now have to deal with a disability, because that's something very different in some regards than somebody who was maybe born with a disability
Yeah.
or who slowly through a disease or something became disabled.
Yep.
These are very different things and require very different approaches that
Absolutely.
a general blanket quote unquote therapy, whatever that means, at 8 sessions a year. Come on.
Well, and we also need better, like better resources for family doctors to access for their patients. Like if they are not familiar with mental illness, like the family doctor needs to be able to either educate themselves properly, or there need to be more mental health, like there need to be more psychiatrists available that are not bogged down with tons and tons of, because there's not enough psychiatrists.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then so referrals take months, and you're, struggling to not kill yourself till you can wait for that appointment.
Mm-hmm.
It's
We live in a digital, hyper-connected world. Why couldn't they have some sort of online communications resource for these GPs,
yeah,
the general practitioners, to be like, look, this is my patient. This is what I've observed. What do you recommend?
yeah,
Who can I send this person to?
yeah, exactly. So their checkbox, they seem to keep only having 3 points
Mm-hmm.
per whatever. I think there's a huge thing under, I don't know if there's anything under, but let's see. So the first one is boost funding to the provinces for mental health care. Good. That's
Sure.
so here's the thing. The Liberals and the NDP keep talking about a nationalized health system. The only thing that should be happening from the federal government in regards to healthcare is the provinces should be getting a little bit more funding. There should not be a nationalized health system. Frickin' look at Britain. See how well that's going.
Yeah, because what would work here in Ontario might not be working in Alberta
Mm-hmm.
or the Maritimes. The provinces are very different
Yeah.
and require different. So I would even say maybe. Oh, my phone's going off.
Ooh, cool ringtone.
Yeah, Imperial March. Maybe letting the provinces keep a little bit, instead of redistributing the money that they take to sort of even out the payments between the provinces. Why not let the provinces keep a little bit more of their money to deal with these specific issues,
Yeah.
and create some sort of agreement that says we will let you keep 15% or whatever back of the money that we would normally take for the allocation payments, to instead invest in mental health.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then the next one is provide incentives to employers to provide mental health coverage to employers.
Why? I can't help but go back to, they're just putting up more barriers to fix problems that barriers have already established.
Yep.
Free markets, free and open markets, so that if you go to a job and you say, okay, so what kind of additional coverage do you offer? What kind of health insurance packages do you offer? None? Okay, well, I'm going to go to the next employer who does provide.
Yep.
Or the next 3 employers, and then go, okay, well, which one has the better plan for me? Exactly. Maybe I am a manic depressive, and maybe I need to go with employer number 2 because they offer better packages for mental health care.
Exactly.
Or maybe I traditionally have a bad, more problems with my teeth, so I will go with employer number 1 because they offer a better dental package included in their health.
And then the last one says create a nationwide 3-digit suicide prevention hotline. Actually, that I think would actually be a good thing.
We already have local ones, though. I mean, and again, a nationwide. Hi, I'm from the government. I'm here to help. Gunny just wrote that. God damn it, Gunny.
Okay, so let's see what the next we've gone through the first three. So let's see what the. Do you see what I mean? Like, well, so far this is like not much.
Yeah, that's why they're using the 3-point system because it's easily digestible by the lowest common denominator, and they're just placating words. It's like
Yeah.
things that will sound good to the layman.
That's why I really can't wait for the debates. So,
Yeah, but they're not.
So this says when COVID-19 hit, the Trudeau government wasn't ready, caught unprepared. They made bad decisions that put lives at risk and crippled our economy. Not wrong. It didn't have to be this way. No, it didn't. Canada has faced pandemics before. In recent memory, we were confronted with SARS and H1N1. Each time, we learned lessons and prepared for future pandemics. Tragically, the Trudeau government undid much of that preparation. Pandemic preparedness was not their priority, and they cut funding for key programs. They shut down the Global Public Health Intelligence Network, our pandemic early warning system. They let the National Microbiology Lab decline and then depleted Canada's PPE stockpile. They fought with the pharmaceutical industry and stocked the Public Health Agency with bureaucrats, not scientists. All of this is true. Canada's Conservatives will implement a Canada Emergency Preparedness Plan. The plan will be measured and updated annually, including by incorporating the findings of the inquiry. Oh, they're going to make an inquiry into how Trudeau screwed up. Oh, so we have a 4-item checklist.
The emergency preparedness plan.
So here we go. Making Canada resilient to threats. And this is a linked thing. Oh boy.
Oh, no. I'm worried.
Yeah. What is this? Oh, here's a link. It's a nested list. Vaccine research, trials, and manufacturing capacity. With a list underneath this. Ramp up Canadian research and production capacity by making Canada one of the best jurisdictions in the world for pharmaceutical research and development, as well as production of vaccines and medicines. So they want us to go back to how we used to be.
Yeah, before they started going down south because they were getting paid more.
Yeah.
That's exactly why the guy who created the mRNA vaccine sequence was working down south. It was because he got offered a shit ton more money to work there with fewer regulations.
Yep. We won't allow liberal regulations to drive pharmaceutical companies out of Canada anymore. We will follow the UK's example by putting in place a sector strategy to grow the sector in a well thought out way rather than just handing out money. How? We will also end the liberal hostility to the pharma sector that has driven investment out of Canada, left us near the back of the line for vaccines, and risks leaving us at the back of the line for new medicines instead. We will negotiate constructively with the industry to reduce drug prices while providing long-term regulatory certainty.
What?
Word salad. Major word salad.
They're painting a pretty picture with no substance.
Yeah. So this says overhaul Canada's pandemic plan and preparedness to include domestic vaccine research trials, development and manufacturing capacity, and readiness with a focus on novel vaccine platforms, keeping and attracting the best minds in Canada, and ensuring secure access to supplies during the pandemic scenarios, working with universities, the private sector, provinces and territories, and international partner countries to build for the future, and review Health Canada's regulatory processes and the balance between Canada's industrial health and economic relationships with the global biomanufacturing sector in light of Canada's poor performance in accessing vaccines during COVID-19.
We used to be big producers of medications here, and then we did a whole lot of hijinks to make it less tenable.
Yeah.
And so they moved their shit over to India.
So this says increasing domestic production of critical supplies. Partner with pharmaceutical companies to increase production of critical medicines and active pharmaceutical ingredients in Canada. Yes, that should be a thing. Work with the United States to strengthen the North American supply chain for pharmaceuticals to reduce our shared reliance on imports, and use procurement by government and those receiving government funding to strengthen domestic production of PPE. So, without using so many ridiculous words, work with the U.S. to make sure that we can make our own goddamn PPE. Okay, God, why do politicians have to weave a blanket of words? Okay. Reinstate the tariff on imported PPE to recognize and secure the longevity of Canadian manufacturing of PPE. Canadian manufacturers have responded to the pandemic by enhancing their capacities to produce PPE, and they deserve to compete within a fair domestic market. A strong domestic manufacturing industry for PPE is a pillar of pandemic readiness and ongoing resilience. Canadian manufacturers are also at the forefront of PPE innovation, seeking to address the environmental impact of the loss manufacturing of PPE. Holy crap.
Right.
Stockpiles, lab testing, and contact tracing. Oh boy. Overhaul Canada's national emergency stockpile system to ensure supplies are there to rapidly respond to infectious disease, bioterrorism, and similar threats, including ensuring the securing of supply for personal protective equipment, diagnostic reagents, and swab supplies, and adopting modern tracking systems to ensure supplies are used before they expire and available when needed. There's a lot of ands here. There's a lot of ands. Have you guys heard of the comma? Overhaul federal lab testing processes and the support that provides for provinces and territories to markedly improve consistency and scaling of the lab capabilities across Canada, including the development of rapid testing capabilities at our borders across our cities, in rural and remote communities, and within long-term care facilities. And fill the response gap left by Ottawa between lab testing and costly lockdowns through working with Canadian infectious disease experts, provinces and territories to develop evidence-based contact tracing systems for our borders and in support of public health efforts, delaying and pushing unproven technologies on the provinces and territories over scientific procurement processes allowed the virus the time to spread and undermine Canada's social, economic, and health structures. Holy moly, word salad, blah blah blah. Develop a national system for sharing data across jurisdictions on pathogen transmission, immunity levels, and vaccination rates with transparent reporting requirements and coordinating among jurisdictions.
Okay, that I can get behind
Yes.
because there does need to be some level of communication between the different provincial agencies. I don't like the idea of federalizing everything.
No.
When does that ever work out?
I don't like that either. New high containment laboratory capacity and infection control capacities. Bolster our infectious disease and pandemic science infrastructure, research, and expertise through the development of new and novel high containment laboratories, laboratory capabilities alongside the National Microbiology Lab to rapidly identify the threat to Canadians of novel and emerging infectious disease and bioterrorism agents, including by enhancing our basic scientific understanding of the transmission of novel pathogens in built-in environments, notably long-term care facilities, hospitals, and other communal settings, on different surfaces, e.g. nurse stations, medical equipment, doorknobs, retail and workplace surfaces, and the importance of infection control measures, e.g. masks, hand washing, supporting the development and testing of new infection control products, biomaterials, safe and high performance architectural designs, airflow systems, and isolation facilities for the control of infectious diseases during regular times, and ensure Canada has the rapid response capabilities, including issuing science-based public health guidelines for frontline workers and essential services during outbreaks and pandemics. Never again Should essential workers be left to their own devices, or our economy simply be allowed to collapse? That's not wrong. Holy crap, we made it through that whole thing.
Mm-hmm. I barely, my brain just turned to mush with all that.
Oh my god. And like I don't think I can do the whole, cuz the Liberal and NDP is worse. You think this is word salad? Like, so I'm going to summarize the rest of what my friend read to me.
Mm-hmm.
So for the Liberals, there was much of the same. It was uh we've had your back since the pandemic started, and we're going to continue to have your back. And it was much of that rhetoric with no actual again, no actual plan, no actual like there were not very many verbs
Right.
in the sentences of any party, really. It and the Liberals are very much banking on, remember the days of Stephen Harper, you don't want that back. That's what they're banking on. They're banking on making people think that the Conservative Party, it has not changed since Harper.
Which is complete bullshit. They've become more like the liberals.
Yes. um and the the complete just, if when I was having the platform read to me by my friend, it really felt like that I keep making the analogy to a narcissistic partner,
Mm-hmm.
where when you finally have enough and you snap on them, and then they gaslight the crap out of you. And it really felt like that when you were reading Trudeau's platform, and saying, I keep seeing his tweets about how Canadian, we need to put the how buying a home back in the reach of Canadians. And I'm like, dude, you've been in power for the last 6 years, and in that time it's become impossible to buy a house. How are we supposed to trust you to fix what you broke?
And not only that, but now adding even more problems to an issue, just like in that inflation is now out of control, is becoming out of control here too.
Yeah.
It's not we haven't had as big of a spike as the US, but it's getting there. And
I've noticed that Trudeau has changed his slogan.
Mhm.
It's no longer "Build Back Better," which was Joe Biden's slogan.
Amongst
He's
others,
now
yeah.
changed it to "Forward for Everyone."
Fuck yourself.
So I've been tweeting. I tweeted at him because he put out a tweet with that hashtag, and I'm like, what did Grandpa Joe call you and tell you "Build Back Better" was taken?
Nice.
Because it's like, and I'm like, right in the middle of your campaign, you're gonna change your campaign slogan. I'm
Can
like,
I?
they both suck, but I mean, like, at least stick with one. Don't.
It's kind of shifty.
Yeah,
Can I just quickly read from the PPC's
of course.
platform? Because just chat, just from what we've gone over with just basically one party, you see it's a lot of placating language. It's a
Yeah.
lot of just bullet points, and we're speaking to you like you're a 4-year-old. The PPC, when they want to outline what they want to do with healthcare, they say the issue. Canada's public healthcare system has the dubious distinction of having the worst wait times of any developed country. Healthcare costs have been increasing at an unsustainable rate, putting more and more financial pressures on the budgets of provincial governments. So we're outlining the plan, that we're outlining the problems here.
Yeah.
The situation is likely to get worse with Canadians' aging population. And as we saw during the COVID pandemic, our healthcare system is too rigid and bureaucratized to quickly adapt to a crisis situation. Healthcare is an exclusive provincial jurisdiction. However, for years, the federal government has insisted that the provinces satisfy a series of conditions set in the Canada Health Act in exchange for transfer payments. We're talking about transfer payments. These conditions discourage innovation. Also, the money does not directly fund healthcare services. It is simply added to the province's budgets, and they decide where and how to spend it. Again, I've already mentioned that. All this confusion and undue interference leads to bickering between Ottawa and the provinces over who is responsible for the failings of our healthcare system and how much money Ottawa should contribute, and prevents the implementation of sound reforms. It then goes over, a couple paragraphs of facts, and then just to quickly touch on the plan, just going to give you the outline of their plan because they actually cover how they will address these things in much better detail.
Right.
It is up to the provinces to implement reforms in line with the more efficient and less costly mixed universal systems of other developed countries, like you mentioned, the UK. Throwing more federal money at the problem, as all the other parties are proposing, is not the right approach. Agreed. On the contrary, it is part of the problem. Provincial governments will never make the tough decisions if they can always blame Ottawa for not sending enough money. We must end the current confusion over who does what and who is responsible for the platform. A People's Party government will replace the Canada Health transfer cash payments with a permanent transfer of tax points of equivalent value to the provinces and territories to give them a stable source of revenue. In practice, Ottawa will give up its goods and services tax, the GST here in Ontario, and let provincial and territorial governments occupy this fiscal room. In 2021-22, the GST is expected to bring in $41 billion in revenue.
Holy crap.
Almost the same amount currently transferred by Ottawa. So we're going to just take that money and then give it back because we need to have our grubby little federal fingers into it, taking our little slice of the pie. But if we do away with that, the same amount of money will be allocated. So, one's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah. Establish
a temporary program to compensate poor provinces whose revenues from the tax will be lower than the transfer payments they used to receive. Again, instead of taking the money and then giving it back to them, saying, you know what, you're doing a little worse this fiscal year, keep the money, keep X percentage. We'll revisit this next year.
Yeah.
Things. I mean, without having read it before, we were talking earlier in the show. Things I brought up, and we're just like no-brainer ideas.
Yep.
This is how freer markets, help things. We're talking about governmental markets in this case. Yeah, let them deal with their money how they should.
Yes.
And when you have what's colloquially called a have province, they kick back a little bit more to the have-not provinces just so they can catch up.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Because, we are all in this together from the Maritimes to BC and everyone in between.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe we can come together as a country and help out the regions that are doing a little bit worse, but not getting them addicted to the government teat so that a certain provinces like New Brunswick have to constantly be suckling at government coffers at the expense of every other province.
Well, and that's one of the big worrying things that Jagmeet Singh and his party, the New Democrats, want. They are pushing for that universal basic income. and they keep going, universal basic income for every Canadian. And my friend pointed out a good point. She goes, so is this just free money on top of like my job and my child tax credit? Because if that's true, then that's just going to widen the gap between people who don't have that income, like if
Mm-hmm.
and then the people that do. And then also, if every Canadian gets that universal basic income, and you don't, say to the provinces, look, this is, like that, then the people who are on social assistance like ODSP run the risk of getting kicked off that, and then they have to only live on $2,000 a month, and rent is pretty much that anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And so then, and then they've lost their benefits. So then they're, like, do you know what I mean? Like,
I know what you mean. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's, there's no way, like, and then the NDP want a nationalized, pharmacare system. It's like, how do you expect? So, okay, so you want to give everybody $2,000 a month, and then you want to make everybody's meds free, and how do you expect to pay for that?
Higher taxes, which great. How about we do the opposite and just take less money from people's taxes so that they can spend it how they need. If they need to spend a little bit more on healthcare, they'll have that money because they, if they're responsible,
Yeah,
they won't have been spending all that extra money on taxes.
yeah,
I'm not against taxes. I'm not against, and I don't want to get too far into it, but I'm not against the idea of some form of UBI. But the way that they want to institute these programs and deal with these programs is they still want to, at the federal level, they still want to take our money, get their grubby little federal fingers into it, and then redistribute the remaining 50% or 60% or whatever.
yeah,
Well, why are you stealing 40% when we can just keep the money? I'm trying to keep it succinct and just
yeah,
very basic terms, and let us keep our money. And then when in cases with disability, you make it so that it's not what they call in the biz claimable to be used against your uh, 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 disability. Because as far as these government types of welfare go, I think disability is a very good one. It allows
mm-hmm,
people who can not otherwise provide for themselves to be able to survive,
yeah,
which is fine. But we can take away things like welfare, which
yeah.
they call here in Ontario. Ontario works. So that's just welfare. You don't have a job. You're not disabled. Well, here's just some money so you don't starve.
And I had a friend, like, I had a roommate who, it was so frustrating because he wouldn't go to, because you're supposed to go to meetings if you're on Ontario Works,
Mm-hmm.
and you're supposed to be actively looking for a job. But somehow people manage to, like, sweet talk the people. Well, why aren't you looking for a job? And they manage to sweet talk their way onto staying on to OW.
Mm-hmm. I, you know, there have been times where I was down on my luck and I needed to rely on OW in between jobs, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't feel any shame for that. But then I do look at some of these people that you're talking about, these con artists, these lifers sometimes, and I'm just like, you're ruining it for everybody. This is not what a program is for. You should not be on this program. They should kick you off and give you a hard life lesson. And I think going just back to fundamentals, we should teach things like fiscal responsibility in school again.
Mm-hmm.
because they haven't since the, I want to say, late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah. No, this is, and like when you look at all the platforms and stuff, like honestly, PPC, like, and I never thought I'd say this because Maxime Vernier is a little bit of a showman. Um,
He's got to be. He's got to be. He's got to
and
create a brand.
yeah, and I found him to be a bit of a party bouncer. Like, I just worry that if things don't work out for him here, that he just might move on. Because he was in a Liberal Party, he was in the Bloc, he was in the Conservatives. And I'm just like, that kind of pinballing kind of.
Yeah, I can see where that would be a little bit unnerving, but there's something to be said about his consistency of message and mission.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, when he was in the Liberals, he tried to work within the system. He was a younger man back then, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
And then he tried to work with the Bloc within the Bloc, and that didn't work. And then he tried to work in the Conservatives, and he actually started making some headway in the Conservative Party. But then there was that big sort of falling out with the leadership, because they were moving towards being more like the Liberals, and that's where he just said enough is enough.
Yeah.
And we shared a story on Minions the other night where this representative from the Conservatives left the party, won in her riding by a massive margin by riding as an independent. And that gave me... What did you want to say?
We think that the Liberal candidate for Waterloo has left the Liberal Party.
Interesting. Because I was saying to Harry because he asked, what does this mean? And to me, and I'm like, well, it just shows that, you don't have to be a part of these big corrupt parties to win your representative seats, which is great, because then maybe it'll start a trend where not only the electorate, but the people can look at these candidates and go, well, now I'm party blind. You know how we colloquially say, I'm colorblind. Well, now I'm party blind, and I can look at the candidate and go, this person looks like the best candidate for my riding.
Yeah.
They hammer on the issues. They talk the issues that are specific to this region. So, you know what? I might have been a Liberal voter my entire life, but I'm going to vote for that independent or that person running on a different platform, whatever party, and just go with them, because that's how our parliamentary system works.
Oh, wow. Pincalo actually says, I looked further into it. Yeah. She didn't leave it. She's just making it look like she did to... what did he say? I looked further into it.
Not like a Liberal?
She's using it to not look like a Liberal, yeah.
But she was a Conservative?
No. Bardish Chagger, our MP.
Oh, you're the one you were talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
Because if I just pull it up, I have it saved somewhere here.
And then Pink Hollow says, that's why I'm spoiling my ballot. Yeah, I wonder how many people are going to do that this year.
Yeah, well, I quote-unquote spoiled mine by voting for my local PPC rep, even though I knew he didn't have a chance in hell of winning in my district.
No, I mean, like, I wonder how many people are going to show up and just... Because you can actually write in, like, an abstaining...
Yeah.
Like, I wonder how many people are going to do that, because... there's like, because we cannot go NDP. We fucking
No.
And we absolutely.
You want to go bankrupt? That's how you go bankrupt.
We cannot go NDP, and we cannot go Liberal right now without the Liberal Party basically imploding and rebuilding itself. Nobody wants the Liberals right now. Well,
yeah, it's one of those elections where it's just we need to vote against someone instead of for someone.
Yeah. And and the shitty part is the conservatives have changed since Harper had left. They just have shit leadership, right?
Well,
I think
they still have very good representatives, like one of
yeah,
our favorites in Polyev. But I
right.
mean,
I think they could be a good party if they had better leadership.
the thing is, they're too, just like the liberals, they're too entwined with business interests as
Yeah.
opposed to being representatives of the people.
Yeah.
That's been the song and dance of the last couple decades in most
That's
Western countries with big parties. That's the biggest problem. It's not the representatives themselves. It's not. Yes, it is in part the leaders, but it's their intertwinedness, their connectivity to these corporate interests that they're making money off of. Their friends and their family are making money off of. Yes, we all know about the wheelings and dealings of Trudeau and his family and all that's been going on. But when you dig up stuff on O'Toole, even on Harper, there was a lot of the same type of stuff. Wasn't as bad as Trudeau. Trudeau is about as bad as we've gotten it so far. But who's to say O'Toole's any different? They're not. Jagmeet, same thing. The thing that I'm looking at personally as a voter in this upcoming election is not only trying to vote against the Liberals, but trying to find out the least amount of damage that the PC candidates are going to do, because obviously they're against the immigration targets. Remember, the Trudeau government said that they want to change not quotas, caps into targets.
Yeah.
So instead of there being a cap of 140,000 refugees a year or whatever, they want to make that the target. Very, very choice wording, and scares me to death. Yeah. And now he wants to dump another 20,000 Afghanis into Canada?
Now, I'm more okay with bringing in Afghani people than I was with the Syrians and back, because it was more clear that those were more like economic
migrants as opposed to actual refugees.
These people are literal refugees.
On principle, I agree with you.
Helping, because the Taliban are actual psychos who will actually kill people who aren't the right type of Muslim. And because we had a hand in going in to try to help, and then thanks to Joe, everybody out, we kind of fucking made it worse. We kind of have a responsibility to, after we get all of our people out, that we sent over there, we have a responsibility to kind of help the people who might be in danger from these crazy people, because we kind of kicked the hornet's nest and then threw it. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, we've pissed off all these people, and this whole situation.
In
sucks.
Principle, I would agree with you. However, there is a very real problem that we need to address. And if I was, king for a day, I would stop all immigration, all refugee claims to fix our border, because we can't even track. They don't even track how many illegal. Sorry, in Canada we call them irregular border crossings, because people on work, student or visitation visas to the United States
Yeah.
literally walk over the border and take up permanent residency in Canada illegally.
Yes.
And that needs to stop, and we need to start not only physically preventing this from happening, but also start taking names and numbers and seeing what the statistics are, because the federal government, these agencies don't record these numbers. And if they do, they don't share them.
No.
And that's a huge problem. We can't tell what's been going on. During the start of COVID pandemic, we were told that a lot of temporary foreign workers and foreign students went back home. And they proved it by showing, yes, these people, they did go back home.
Right.
But they didn't account for everyone. And they didn't account for other related issues. And it made the whole thing a big clusterfuck where we can't get accurate numbers.
Yeah.
And we need that should be one of the federal government's, responsibilities, to track these things, who's coming in and out of our country. And they're not doing it. They're too busy worried about pipelines or what provinces are doing for their healthcare budgets. It's one of the biggest mandates as a federal government is protect the borders. God's sakes. Yeah. And another thing is the international laws for refugees. Why do we have any responsibility to take refugees from the other side of the planet? There are other viable countries in the neighborhood. And okay, you might say, well, the international community's already fucked up closer countries like, say, Germany and Sweden. And yeah, I can't blame them for saying, okay, wait, whoa, hold on.
Yeah.
Germany, we've had enough. We can't take any more people. I can empathize with that because they have.
Yeah. And
it has not worked out well for them. So maybe we can find other closer countries. I mean, it should be, this regional thing that really needs to be taken into consideration. And then, we'll take the runoff of 2,000, whatever. But then again, we need to go back to these settling rules that were brought up back in Harper's Day, where they said, hey, we will be a little bit more open with refugees and immigrations numbers, but they cannot move to Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal, or
probably
I don't think it was Calgary. I think it was maybe Halifax. Anyway, another bit larger city in Canada, where they said, they're kind of full at the moment. Mm-hmm. Let them grow over a couple of years and we'll revisit the target. But these new people, when they land in Canada, will not be able to directly move to these cities.
Yeah.
And will not be able to relocate to these cities for, I believe it was like 15 years, which seems sensible because you do want to grow some of these smaller regions.
Yeah.
And when you're dispersing smaller numbers of people, they tend to amalgamate better and melt into the pot a little bit better than just saying, okay, here's Canada, enjoy. And they all go, well, where are we most likely to get jobs? Okay, well, we'll all move to Toronto and Montreal. And then add stress onto all sorts of infrastructure, housing costs, all these little things that are interconnected. Sorry, I've been going off for quite a bit, but it's something that really
it's all connected.
Is up in my head constantly when these election cycles come around.
And it's just
there's right ways to do it, and we haven't been for a while.
And it's very frustrating because you can tell that Trudeau very strategically called the election the way he did, because he's been in front of the camera for almost 2 years every day, almost, because of COVID, right? Now he's given his opponents like what, a month to
36 days.
yeah,
Yup.
36 days, and then we've got, you know, nothing, and so we've got all of these scrambled platforms, like you can tell by reading them. If you go and you read like the full stuff, like it reads like a high school student who went, fuck, this essay's due tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it, all of the platforms that me and my friend went through, the conservatives, the liberals, and the NDP, that's how they read. They read like the, fuck, this 20,000 word paper is due like tomorrow. I need to bullshit. Yep. And then like they're like, okay, Microsoft Word counter, how many words is that? Oh shit, not enough. More bullshit. Like I haven't found any like declarative, this is how we are going to implement this. It's all just, pretty
talking
words.
Talking points.
And I have a feeling that when we watch the debate on the 8th or the whenever the English debate is, we're gonna be doing a lot of yelling, how?
Yeah, because there's some people we like to listen to on the interwebs, like our good friend Polyev, like Viva Fry, like Mad Max. They had some pretty choice words about the scum fuck in charge.
Yep.
Who gave them 36 days to get all this together while he's been in front of the cameras for the last 2 years, making promises he's never kept.
There's a video clip. I'm actually going to find it right now because it's not long.
Is it Polly or?
It's from Polyev, but it's a clip of Trudeau talking to a reporter. And
the monetary policy thing?
Yeah.
Okay, here I have it.
You'll forgive. Oh, I'm not.
Do you want it in side chat here?
Yeah, just actually, if you could throw it in my Discord in our Discord DM, that way I can.
Fun.
Thank you.
Dude, we were so on the as soon as you were like, okay, I was like, I know the clip she's talking about because it was, mwah, bellissimo. So
yeah, I saw it at my friend's place. I was watching it and I'm like, what the fuck? And I played it for her and she's like, what an asshole.
He is such an asshole, and Polyev is such a national treasure. I mean, I hate to go that route with any sort of political figure, but it's hard not to when you listen to the man speak. He's like a learned, well-spoken populist like Trump is, without being the boisterous, hyperbolic. He's got wit, he's got charm. He can spit out facts left and right, and he can end any of his statements with a nice zinger to just, get him right in the gut.
Yeah.
Without being vulgar, without being hyperbolic.
And I love how Polyev like adds these little clips where he's not even speaking. It's just like he's just found, a clip of Trudeau saying something stupid
that anybody, even the lamest of laymen, would look at that and go, "What?"
Yeah. Like he just posts it on his channel and like he just, comes up with a clever title like that, like it's Justin, of course you don't care about monetary policy. Like it's just like he doesn't gloat. He's just, that's his way of going, I'm just gonna leave this here. Like it's just, he's not.
Because when your leader of your country is like, of course, we'll see the clip chat, but like, You know what comes to mind is Cenk Uygur going, "Of course."
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like
Yep.
I have no words. I'm just sitting here smacking myself in the head because it's like, wake up, Canada. Oh
Yeah,
boy.
it's bad. Okay, I've got this loaded up. I'm just gonna quickly share it. Don't autoplay. Don't autoplay.
Don't you do it, you son of a bitch, you.
And it autoplayed. Okay, that's fine. I stopped it. Okay, here we go to the share screen button. Okay. So yeah, he's talking to a reporter. Um it is like literally a 20-second but it's perfect. Oh, where are we here? Yeah, 40 seconds. That's what it is. And it's just, and he's so, like, God, as a blind person, this is why this is gonna make sense. He has such a smackable voice. Like, when he talks, you just want to reach through the screen and smack him. And just be like, shut up!
Yeah.
He's so smug.
Yeah, he's got that. He's got the face too.
And he's got this, like, he to me sounds like the dude who is just so greasy. Like the smarmy, like the guy who's got way too much gel in his hair and he's all like greased up and like not like just this greasy, smarmy, smug, self-assured asshole. Like that's what he sounds like to me.
Dude, you're hitting the nail on the head. He really is.
So here we go. It's called Justin. Of course, you don't care about monetary policy.
You mentioned the Bank of Canada's mandate. That mandate is actually expiring at the end of this year. If re-elected, it's probably the review or the extension of the mandate is probably the first big economic policy decision you'd make after the election. There's some talk of allowing the Bank of Canada to make some tweaks to the mandate to give it a little bit more flexibility to tolerate higher inflation, so it could, help stimulate the economy a little bit more in this very difficult time. Do you have a position on the mandate? Would you support a slightly higher tolerance for inflation?
I don't know. When I think about the biggest, most important economic policy this government, if re-elected, would move forward, you'll forgive me if I don't think about monetary policy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a smart response. That's a Jesus Christ. I just can't fathom that. A prime minister coming out and just going, "You'll forgive me if I don't think about monetary policy." What? If re-elected, you'll forgive me if I don't think about monetary policy. I'm sorry, what the fuck did you just say? Like, you should care. You should think about monetary policy every goddamn day.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I've heard that clip 3 or 4 times now, and every time my brain just goes short circuit. Like, I just can't fathom a leader of a country glibly saying to a reporter during an election campaign, or at any time for that matter, "You'll forgive me if I don't think about monetary policy."
Yeah, he's a special kind of jackass.
And what scares the shit out of me is that there are enough people who don't hear these clips and shit who might give him another chance.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's... Let's not kid ourselves. He probably will, because this whole thing has been orchestrated, and again with the 36 days for the election cycle, intentionally done because he knows he'll be able to get back in office. Now, whether or not it's a minority majority government, that's still up in the air, etc., like that. But they will almost assuredly regain control.
Yeah.
At some level, and it scares me. It should scare anybody. But their bread and butter is the uninformed electorate, and lo and behold, they're able to easily garner those votes because most people don't pay attention. If we could get that clip out into everybody's feeds, how destructive something like that could be. But again, the reality is it won't reach as many people as it should.
Yeah. Oh shit, you're doomed, says Fury Kitten.
Yeah, C-3PO said, "We're doomed."
Yeah, we're doomed. Well, on that thoroughly depressing note, thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves, and please join me tonight for some more Mortal Kombat. And we will be doing Beat the Blind Girl over on Twitch. This weekend there will be a Star Trek stream. We are going to be doing the favorite weapons and then after that, Ghost Dog sent a link over that I'm going to be checking out. But he sent me a link over on Patreon with an idea for a Trek topic.
Nice.
So since Ghost Dog has been a long-time supporter, that will be our next stream. Will be his topic. So and I'll be DMing that to you and Skep and Hammer and everybody. So
thanks for coming out, chat.
Yeah, thank you for watching, and
take off, you hosers.
Yeah,
hey?
take off, eh? see you on Twitch later, eh?
Bye. No do to boot it.